Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Adobe Live. I see so many familiar faces in the chat sticking around to hang out with us. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, time appropriate salutations to all our international friends. My name is Voodoo Val, and I'm going to be your host for this super awesome character design segment for this morning. And I'm joined by my new friend, Kimberly. Kimberly, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you, Val?
I'm doing excellent. I'm super excited to kind of dive into your work today and get to know you and see how you work. But before we do a little introduction of you and what you're all about, I would like to remind everyone in the chat this morning of a couple of things. So maybe we can pull up the schedule to let everyone know what the plan is for the rest of the day. And I'd also like to remind everyone, if you're over on the YouTube channel, please come over to behance.net/live, because that is where we are going to be reading the chat and checking out your comments and questions and all that good stuff. But as you can see, we have kind of a fun-packed day for today. At 8:30 this morning Pacific time, we had the wonderful and amazing Shauna Lynn with October illustration prompts, which was awesome. Kimberly and I are here for character design at 9:30, and we're going to be followed by Kathleen Martin doing a pre-max challenge, which is going to be awesome. Kevin Lee is going to be joining us today at about noon with some web design, and then we are going to round out the day with Wade Acuff and Andrew Hockrattle for the Design in the Dark segment, which is going to be super, super cool. So please stick around because Kimberly and I are not the only ones who are on today. Please show the rest of our Adobe family some support and make some new friends. So now, without further ado, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Kimberly, where you're from, what you like to create, and just what you do in general for your work.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Kim, and I'm the face behind Inku Design. I'm an illustrator, I'm a hand letterer, and I'm a self-taught screen printer as well. I'm based in the very, very wet UK right now. It started raining this weekend. I've been working in the creative industry for about 15 years now, and during the rockiest year ever, I decided to take the plunge into full-time freelance illustrating. Yay!
Nice. Yeah, that's a big leap. Good for you.
Yeah. So my main focus is commercial illustration, and I'm also growing my online screen printing shop. If I take you through some of my work on screen. So here's a bit of my portfolio. I began my career as a graphic designer. I predominantly worked in branding. And then up until about 6 years ago, I landed my dream job working at a gifting agency. And I worked for high street brands creating product and packaging. And this was predominantly in like gifting, cosmetics, and homewares as well. So this is the kind of stuff that I've kind of been working on. A lot of stationery. One of my favorite products ever, a multi-mask, that kind of thing.
Wow. And it looks like the colors are so happy to me. It's so feel good and just so awesome. This is really great.
Yeah, I love all of these colors. Like blues and pinks are like my favorite colors.
Yeah.
And then about 2 years ago, I took illustration up on an Instagram and created my Instagram. And this is part of my 30-day project I did back in May. So I just wanted to kind of find my creative voice. I think as a illustrator working in for agencies, or you kind of take on style guides. Mm-hmm. So I kind of wanted to find who I was and who my identity was. So I started illustrating. And as you can see from here, that my color palette is bright, really love positive kind of affirmations, noodles, love to draw women. It's probably one of my favorite things. So that's kind of what we're doing today, really. We're going to be drawing a character, and we're going to be drawing it. It's for an editorial piece, and it's based on a bookshop. So, yeah.
Ooh, that sounds so exciting. I really love all of these, like not just the colors and not just like because you have like such a wide array of different ways that you present your work here, like on tote bags and packaging and notebooks and all this stuff. But I also really love just the movement and expression with your characters here, because they're obviously very stylized, but they also, like, I'm looking at these girls in the Fempowerment project here, and I'm like, that is how women stand. And it's so funny that, it's such an interesting design, but it speaks to like such a real world, just moment in a woman's life here that feels so real to me. This is so cool.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to get across when I draw women. I want to show their femininity and their elegance. And I love drawing kind of big, strong kind of legs and long arms and long limbs. I kind of want to represent the women that maybe feel that they're not seen, that kind of thing. Like, that's what I'm really drawn to.
Well, I think you're doing a wonderful job. This is fabulous.
Thank you.
And there's the Adobe Live illustration there. I love that so much. That was so much fun to see.
I had to sneak that one in, definitely. And actually recently I'm doing another 30-day project at the moment. So it's been great because lately it's all character design. So I've been kind of drawing all my lovely ladies in different poses. And this one in particular, these are my 3 best friends. Big shout out to them. And this is a 30-second dance party. So
nice.
Yeah, proper movement. That's what I love. I love getting movement in my illustrations.
Yeah. So what is you said you're working on another 30-day project now. What is it? Does it have a title? And where's the best place we can see that?
I'm sharing my 30-day project on my Instagram at the moment. It's kind of something that I did back in May during lockdown. It was kind of needed something to boost my creativity and also to find some illustrations that I could maybe turn into screen prints.
Oh, gotcha.
So I've done it again this October. I'm actually sharing it with one of my friends called Jane Kasuma. She's at Jovietta Jane Creative.studio. We're sharing prompts at the moment. So it's something that we've been doing together. But yeah, it's just to kind of get that creative flow going again. I think when you get into a bit of a slump, it's always good to push yourself and challenge yourself and give yourself some focus, I think, to kind of drill down and hopefully get some kind of fun stuff out of it and meet people as well. I think that's the best thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I feel like this is one of the months where everyone is kind of breaking out of their shell, right? And it's like, I'm going to try this prompt and I'm going to do this new thing. I'm going to set up this array of work for myself. And when you do that, or at least when you are a viewer consuming, all of these wonderful images and projects people are coming out, you do typically run into very like-minded folks, right?
Definitely. Yeah,
and
definitely.
you get to make a lot of new friends. So what are we going to be? I know we're doing a character design today, but what is the plan? What are you going to be showing us for the duration of the stream?
Well, today, so it's broken up into 2 days. Today, I'm going to take you through the beginning of my process. So okay. I'm going to show you some mood boards, and then I'm going to show you some reference images where I take inspiration from. And then after that, I'll show you some thumbnails and how I kind of get my concepts all together and make a decision as to which one I'm going to go forward with. And then I'll take my choice, whichever one we decide to go with, and do a cleaned up sketch. And that's what
Awesome.
we're kind of going to get through today.
Oh, I'm excited to see like the mood board process. I think that's one of my favorite things to kind of observe is, like you can see the final product that people make and it's awesome to see the process, but I always love to see like the preparation and to understand like the mindset of professional when they're starting to kind of plan things out or begin their project, which is really cool. Because some folks, I mean, let me know in the chat. I think sometimes for a lot of us, we have an idea of like an end product that we'd love to get to, but sometimes the beginning can be a little daunting, you know, like putting that stylus to tablet, you know, for the first time, or really fleshing out like a solid idea for how you're going to execute a plan. So this is going to be really cool.
Oh, awesome. If I take you, shall we get going? I'll take you through.
Yeah, we can kind of jump into it.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. I'll take you through to my kind of mood board and the brief, really. So I kind of start off with the brief, which is illustrated character, reading at home, and it's for an editorial piece about local bookshops. And then I normally, I've got the kind of the shape dictated to me by the magazine, so I kind of know the scale of what I'm going to be drawing in. And then after that, I kind of work out what kind of reference material that I'm going to be adding into the illustration. And because I know that she's at home, or he, I've decided on a female character. I've decided that there's going to be plants and a pile of books and maybe a pet, a dog or a cat. And I kind of want to get that really super cozy feeling, that kind of you're at home and you've got a really good book and you've gone lost in your book that you're reading.
That sounds wonderful right now.
Yeah, especially right outside. Good it's feeling. So cold. And then I've started making a list of book titles, because I'm thinking at the moment I've kind of got a rough idea of a really big pile of books. So I'm hoping everyone in chat can kind of help me decide on some books to add into the illustration as well. So I've got a list there of books that I think are kind of must reads for people. So anyone got any ideas, give me a shout, and I can kind of add some typography onto the spines of the books.
Yeah, please do. Everyone in chat, if you folks can think of some really great titles that maybe kind of fit the mood of what Kimberly is working on today, please post your suggestions into the chat, and I'll keep an eye out, and I will make suggestions to her as we go along. Maybe we can start a little list.
Oh, brilliant. That'd be really good. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
So, oops, sorry. And then this is my mood board that I've started. I kind of like to gather a few images of kind of illustrators that inspire me. So, and different poses. And this is kind of what this top row is about. I really like this first image with the really big, huge pile of books. And I like how it's kind of juxtaposed with the character on the top. I also really love this kind of pose here. She looks like she's really, really concentrating and really kind of in the zone with her book.
Yeah.
And then this particular image here with them on the armchair is really, really lovely. And that's like my perfect ideal scenario when I'm reading with plants all around me. I can imagine completely getting lost in that environment.
Same, I'm the same way.
Yeah, we've got so many plants at home. It's like a jungle.
Yeah, I have to like have a schedule for watering my plants. I have so many plant babies in the house.
Yeah, we've got so many spiderlings just growing here, there, and everywhere.
That's awesome. Sounds great.
And then because we've been talking about a pile of books, I've kind of found an image, a reference image of like how these books would be piled up with a pair of glasses on top or whatnot. And these are like my reference images. I wish I was that illustrator that could kind of draw from imagination, and I'm hoping as I get better that will come. But at the moment, I'm one of those people that kind of loves to have something in front of me. It kind of helps me with the process.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I've got a few here, and I quite like the lounging aspect of these. I quite like how, you know, she could be leaning up against something. I like that she's got a mug in her hand as well. So all good kind of reference images there. And then I'll probably take you through onto my iPad now. I'm all good to kind of get going.
Yeah, sounds good. Also, I love that you have, you know, your inspiration. I something that I like to remind people of is that it's always really great to kind of look at other people's work for inspiration and, kind of like getting those creative juices flowing. But you also have something that I tell people they should have too, and that's a little bit of fact, right? So you have like
Mm,
this balance of just like beautiful, like this is the direction I'm going kind of reference, and then also like here's some real life, and keep this in mind and keep glancing over and looking at it for a reference as you create your own piece. So that is
mm,
so cool.
yeah, definitely. I think otherwise I think especially with drawing humans and characters, I found it really difficult. I was awful at life drawing when I was at university. I was really, really bad. Um, and then I went into graphic design. So it was kind of blended at graphic design. I used to do Illustrator, and I used to do kind of more illustration in Illustrator as opposed to hand drawing.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think having reference material is really important, because then you can kind of make sure that your arms and your legs are all in the right place.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're using, real quick, just for your process here, you're using the ruler tool right now.
Mm,
Um, and I always love to point this out whenever somebody pulls this up, because I've only seen like a few people that really get into using this, and I started using it as a product of that. But I just want to like highlight it so folks can know that this is kind of a really cool tool. And it's almost like having pen and paper, right? Where you have your ruler
mm,
and you can reorient it, wherever you want, and start making, your guidelines and things. And it's a pretty useful tool, and it's also, I think, very unique, especially if you're like me and you're used to using Photoshop, where you can just hold shift and draw a straight line. This is almost like very hands-on kind of approach to doing this. So I just in case anyone was wondering what this is, this kind of UI on the screen it is the ruler tool within Fresco, and it is super fun.
yeah, it's really good. I think it's been really, really helpful with guides and to draw shapes with. It's really, really handy. I'm kind of drawing my boxes at the moment for my thumbnails.
Nice.
Just drawing some really rough guides. And then I normally draw like based on the kind of reference images that I used earlier,
Hmm.
which I have up on my screen. I kind of sketch out some ideas, which help me kind of plan out what I want to do for my piece. So I'll kind of get started on doing that. I've picked the pencil in Fresco. I kind of
Nice.
like, this is kind of a smooth pencil, which I really like. And then I think what I'll do is use that first reference image with the really big pile of books.
Hmm.
Also, another thing about Adobe Fresco, which I really love, is this snapping tool, which you hold down if you want a
Yes.
straight line, which is really good.
That is so cool. Also, we have some suggestions in the chat from Dean O'Callahan, who says, book idea, pocket full of dew. That's awesome. Jane Kusuma says, Minor Feelings by Kathy Park Hong. Very awesome. Keep those ideas coming, folks, because we may choose some of them to put into the project, because we have some spines to decorate of these books after a while. And I
Oh,
love
awesome.
I love that you are thumbnailing too. And this is a really great thing to kind of impress upon, folks in the chat. I think because for a long time I was somebody that I didn't thumbnail at all. But when you do this, folks, and you have, like a handful of different ideas and things that you can kind of go over, I think it really helps to make sure that you're kind of choosing the most dynamic, interesting, and engaging version of the idea that you're trying to convey, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of do it a few times. And I noticed that for me, thumbnailing is like when I'm drawing, I have like first initial idea and I'll sketch it out and see how it looks. But then my second, third, and fourth attempt usually are a lot smoother and a lot more interesting. So I kind of get that first rough sketch out of my system and then start kind of working my brain to elaborate on what I'm doing. And I'm curious to know, like, kind of what your thought process is while you're going through your own thumbnailing process. Like, are you just sketching to kind of get like a first sketch down and get used to your tools, or are you really executing like this is a possibility and then move on to the next one and then kind of systematically cross off ideas on your mental list of composition?
To be honest, it's a bit of both. I think it's always really good to. I started actually recently, if people have been following me on my Instagram, I started doing a 10-minute sketch warm up every day. And that kind of gets me in the process of the day. It gets me starting with my illustration and warms me up, and it kind of helps me get a feel of the materials and the tools that I'm using. And obviously, because we're not on paper, it's slightly different. So I kind of use thumbnailing for that. And it's also what I also like to do is sketch the ideas out, because there's like you need to kind of get the bad ideas out first, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
And by doing this, it really helps get to the idea that that's gonna work, really.
Yeah. I love how this is kind of coming together. I can see a little bit of our coffee mug girl in this, sort of.
Yeah.
And I love how it's coming together. And I can also kind of like really start to see as you go along how you are utilizing your reference, and then kind of adding your own personal flair to it, which is really cool.
Yeah, I kind of really love like really long necks. Really, I like a round ear. I think these are like what you pick up when you start drawing. You kind of work out the elements of the body that you like and how you like to draw them. So I like really long legs, and I like to accentuate the limbs a bit more. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think probably as you get a little more comfortable with your understanding of your tools and your trade, you start to kind of elaborate more on the parts that you're more passionate about when it comes to your work. And that, I think, is probably where a lot of your style starts developing, as you get used to your work and you're like, I would like this long neck, or I do need a round ear, and so on. And, you start to kind of like, really show through in your work where it goes from I'm going to sit and draw this character to now I can really kind of do what I want. So that's super awesome. That's kind of where I think style really comes about. What do you think about people finding their style? Because I feel like that's a question, if it hasn't been asked in chat already, it probably will be asked, because that's something that people are always curious about. Like, do you remember a time where you kind of like started to feel like maybe you had a style, or do you feel like you have a style? For me, I feel like everything in my portfolio looks like something drawn by somebody different. I can't see it in my own work. But what about you? Like, how do you feel about like discovering a style, and is it something that you work towards purposefully, or this is just how it happens for you when you create?
I think I'm still working on my style. I think it's developed a lot since I started back in like a few years ago. I follow a lot of Instagram illustrators, and I look on Pinterest, and
nice.
I do a lot of practice as well. So I think every time you do practice, you can kind of see which elements you like and which elements you don't like. And I think my style has definitely developed. And I think it's by observing, it's by trying things out, it's by taking on inspirations in your kind of interests and what you particularly like. So I'm really inspired by Japanese culture. I love Japanese culture. I love packaging, and I love kawaii, cute stuff. I love all of that. I love those characters. And I think I'm inspired by definitely by the female form. So I want to express how I think and how I can embody those feelings in my everyday as well, because I want to feel confident, I want to feel brave, I want to feel strong, and I want to show that through my own illustration. So I do a lot of poses of women in action moves or kind of like in sporty kind of poses. So on a skateboard, yesterday's illustration was on a skateboard. And as I think my contour lines, I like to keep them quite strong as well. And I really like flat illustration as well. I always really admire those illustrators that can get the shading in their illustrations. That's something that I really, really want to learn. I've done a lot of Skillshare classes actually, along the way.
Awesome.
Yeah. And different courses. I think also if you take a lot of classes, you can kind of develop your skill that way, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, it's very true what you say about, once you sort of like get comfortable with certain aspects, then it can kind of like flow into what you love. So this is really cool. And you mentioned Skillshare, which reminds me of something that you mentioned during your intro, and that was that you are a self-taught screen printer. Is that what you said? So what is that like teaching yourself how to screen print? That sounds daunting to me, but I'm very curious.
Oh, it's one of my biggest passions at the moment. It's something that I've been doing for the past, or really wanting to do for the past 3 years, and I've just started this year. We built a garden studio in the back of our house, so we converted our garage into a studio, and I did one class at it was a weekend class in Print Club London, which is this amazing place. It was probably the best 2 days that I had, and they take you through the process of screen printing. So they give you all the history of screen printing, and then you have a piece of artwork that you set up, and then you have a whole day of printing, which is so much fun, just getting inky. And I think that that's what I've really loved, is getting away from screens and taking something that you've drawn or illustrated, and you can kind of take it away and away from the computer, and then turn it into something, a product, which is what I love about screen printing. But I love the technical side as well. I love learning about kind of the exposure times, and also we make all of our screen prints from scratch.
Nice.
Wow. So
that's a lot of steps, a lot of cool details going on there.
Yeah, there's quite a lot. It's not the cheapest of crafts, because there's a lot of stuff with inks and also making the screens, so it ends up being a little bit costly, but I think the end process is so rewarding and something that I really love doing. I love being behind the squeegee, and the buzz that you get kind of from pulling a perfect screen is so wonderful. It's such a nice.
I assume that it's probably got to be kind of an interesting challenge and just thing to do, where when you have a passion that can be a little more costly than other forms of work, then kind of the challenge of marketing and seeing if you can find a way to use the passion to fuel the passion in a way, can be really kind of fun to do as well. Also, Cody Bear in chat is posting a reminder for us, and she's absolutely right. In 1 hour, we are going to be doing an artist spotlight. So if you would like to nominate yourself or someone else, you can head to the top of the chat over on behance.net/live, hit that artist spotlight tab, and you'll be able to fill out a form. So you can suggest yourself, you can suggest a friend, you can suggest somebody maybe you don't know, but you admire them as an artist and you'd like to put their name in the magical hat of drawing, so to speak, and we will be choosing artists for the spotlight on usually Mondays, and we like to just pull up their work and take a look at their portfolio, and kind of highlight them and talk about what they do. So yeah, we'll be doing that in about an hour, so please check it out, and help support yourself, help support your friends, and spread those good vibes in the community. Alice Loro says, I can assure you that Kim's prints are amazing.
Oh, hi Alice.
Do you know Alice?
Yeah, we're good friends. We met on Instagram. She's so lovely. She bought
wonderful.
one of my prints recently, so I was really pleased Yeah, so lovely. Oh, thank
Well,
you.
welcome, Alice. Welcome in. And Alberto says, since you love screen printing, have you tried woodcut printing ever?
To be honest, no, I haven't. Something that I probably really would enjoy doing.
Mm.
Yeah, I've done lino printing in the past at like university, but not woodcut printing.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. It sounds
Yeah.
like a kind of like a big endeavor thing. Like it's not like, I'm gonna sit down and sketch on my iPad for like 30 minutes and whatever. That's like here today is the day I'm gonna plan and I'm gonna do this thing for a day. That's a lot of stuff. But it kind of reminds me a little bit of ceramics. I'm a big fan of like raku ceramics, like the
Mm.
Japanese glazing and firing methods for creating ceramics. And
Yeah.
that is so much fun. But I like to have, I think especially as somebody who, you and I, we do digital work so often that it's really great to have like a more hands-on artistic passion too, just to kind of change it up and go from digital to something that I even like would prefer, like a kind of like hands-on art that kind of gets a little messy too, because digital work is so clean.
Definitely. And I think working on an iPad, like it completely changed how I worked as an illustrator and how I draw as an illustrator. You can double tap and it's fixed, or you can kind of re-go back. So getting inky and messy, and you kind of have to kind of get used to those imperfections. And sometimes the imperfections are the things that actually make it really beautiful or that much better, I think.
Yeah. And then there's the times where you're so used to doing digital art that if you're like me and you're standing in the mirror and you're doing your makeup and you mess up on your eyeliner, then you reach for Control Z and then you're like, I can't do that. That's not a thing I can do. In real life, I get
so
stuck
funny.
in it.
that reminds me of a piece that I did recently it was for my May 30 day. I did pieces of packaging, things that you wish that you had in real life to fix all your everyday struggles. And it was a pot of hand lotion, and it was, you'd use it and it would scrub out all of the things that you did that day.
Yes.
Your eyeliner went the wrong way or something. You could just use that.
Let's get rid of this.
Yeah, sorted.
That's great.
So good.
Alberta says, yeah, totally recommend wood printing if you're thinking the feeling of seeing your print at the end of screen printing is great, because after a few cuts on the wood cuts in 72 hours, you pull out your first prints and that feeling is great. That sounds wonderful.
It must feel so rewarding.
Yeah. Let's see, Cody and Shauna are talking about your mention of like doing flat work. Let's see, Cody says, yeah, flat shapes and forced perspective are definitely what she works on a lot with her artwork as well. Cody, I don't know if you've seen Cody Bear's work, but she does these really gorgeous, like they're like flat design, but like very textury woodland animals and very cute characters, kind of like children's book illustration. And she does like scenes or character design and stuff. And she's the kind of artist you look for every autumn. Like you look for her year round, but like when autumn rolls around, it is a cozy place at the Cody Bear's cave. Like it's a fun time.
That sounds amazing, especially what we need right now here in the UK. We need all of those bears.
Adorable bears wearing big sweaters, like drinking piping cups of hot cocoa, little hats on. It's great. And then Shauna is saying flat shapes are so hard. I admire people that can do them and do them well, especially with people. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like I love flat design too, but I'm predominantly like a portraiture illustrator. And I like to do like semi-realism, leaning more towards realism with my stuff. And I think that a common misconception about flat design and illustration is that sometimes the shapes can be quite minimalist and quite simple, and the textures are pretty straightforward. You're kind of like layering things and doing things. But coming from a background of painting like semi-realism to realism, when I've tried flat design, it is very difficult because it's almost like creating a logo. You are working with kind of a minimal style, and you are working with a lot of simple shapes, but it takes a lot of know-how and a lot of skill to know exactly where to put them so that a viewer who's never seen your work, totally unrelated to what you're creating, can look at it and it registers in their mind as something familiar to them. You know, like you only get a certain amount of detail that you can work with in a logo, but that logo has to read very small and very large. You know, it's the same, I think, with this style where you're conveying, you know, an entire mood, an entire feeling, with a different kind of detail than a realism painting, and it has to give you the same feeling, which is like mind-blowing to me, you know. So it's a lot more than people think. I can't do it. I'm not good at this. It doesn't work for me.
I definitely can't do I can't do what you do. Your portraits are incredible. Like
Thank you.
painting is something that I've not really developed. So when I look at your work, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So yeah.
Well, thank you. I think it's the grass is always greener sometimes, right? Where you like, you know, feel like we both have like pretty cool work, and then we're both looking at each other like, when can I do this? How can I do that though?
Definitely. I'm always wanting to kind of see what I can develop, or what I can do, what I can do next. But sometimes it's just not in your, it's not part of your kind of creative DNA. It's not kind of there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just you gravitate towards what you gravitate to. And I think, you know, everybody's brain works differently, and everybody perceives, you know, things differently. And so I think that's why we have such a beautiful wealth of style in art in the world, because people see things differently. I feel like, you know, some of the greatest representations of that are just like some of the old masters. Like you have these people, you know, like, you know, Michelangelo doing all this stuff, and then you have like Picasso, who's like, this guy is like really making his own way and doing his own thing and showing things as he understands in his own mind to create. And that's what we've got going on, even with the two of us, and even with people in chat. You know, we all make it differently because we all perceive the world in our own unique way, and so art will come naturally to us in different ways as well.
Definitely.
Let's see, Cody says, I feel like the more minimal the style, the more difficult it can be. It seems so simple, but it's really not. Everything is intentional. That's a perfect way of saying it. Yeah, it's very, very deliberate, intentional placements of elements in each piece. So whereas like me, I might be doing like a painting, but I guarantee you in every single one of my paintings, there is a shadow somewhere in the painting that is hiding something I couldn't draw. Like there is something in the painting that is blocking an element that covers something I was self-conscious about and didn't want to spend the time to draw. But you know, a lot of times in you know, a style that's more minimalist, like everything is very deliberate, and it's like, here is what I've got, and it all is placed just so that when I look at it, I'm like, oh, I know what this is. That little swoop you just did for like the heel and ankle, that was so buttery. That was so, I saw that, I was like, ooh, that was satisfying to see.
Oh, thank you. I like the description word, buttery.
Yeah, very buttery.
Buttery. I've tapped my brush actually onto smoothing right at the top of this. I like how the smoothing creates really nice curves, because I think, let me show you with it can be kind of a little bit, you don't have the same curves when it's at 0%. So I like to whack it up to the top, especially if I'm doing ankles and heels. Yeah, it makes a really good kind of curve for sure.
Nice. I hope you guys can't hear the small dogs next door barking. I think they want to see the stream so bad right now, and they can't, that they're a little perturbed about it.
They're at the door wanting to get in.
They're my neighbor's dogs, so I can't actually do anything about it. So I apologize if anyone can hear them, but there are some really adorable small doggos outside the window who are either having a blast or just want to meet all of you so bad. That's basically, I think, what's happening. right. We got Joe is saying book idea. I think this book was on your list. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee.
Oh yeah, that was probably, I think, yeah, that is on my list.
Yeah.
That was a good recommendation though. It's one of the first books I read at high school.
Nice.
To Kill a Mockingbird. A really good book.
Yeah, very good book. Let's see. Are we living? I am in California, yes. But Kimberly is not in California. Kimberly is very far from California.
I'm in very wet UK at the moment. I'm actually down on the Dorset coast at the moment.
Nice,
but it's
nice.
A bit chilly.
And everyone is talking. Yes, General Kenobi, space dogs, because I am in space. I am currently broadcasting to you live from the finalizer. And I've taken some time out of my busy space schedule to hang out because I heard Kimberly was going to be here, and obviously I had to attend. But afterwards, I will be back to space business, indeed. Angela, welcome in. It's good to see you. Also, if anyone has just jumped in and maybe this is your first time here on Adobe Live and you're a little nervous, not quite sure how things work, please say hello to us in chat. We would love to meet you and make friends with you. If you are over on the YouTube channel right now, please come over to behance.net/live. If you're over there, you're probably wondering who I'm greeting and talking to in the chat because you can't see them. This is where the party's happening over on Behance. Did I play Squadrons? I have not played Squadrons yet. I know that that's blasphemy for a big Star Wars fan like me, but I haven't made it. Sorry, Alberto. Anthony Jackson saying, what's up? It's good to see you. I am hanging out with Kimberly today, and we are drawing some just really beautiful, very cozy, I would say, illustrations for, you said this is for a bookshop? Is that what like a editorial for about a bookshop?
Yeah, it's an editorial for a magazine, and it's about local bookshops.
Nice. Yes, I'm very excited. It kind of gives the cozy, because when I walk into a bookshop, I'm usually a little disappointed if there isn't a place for me to curl up exactly like this, because when I find a book, sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I can make it home to curl up. Like I need a bean bag, or I need a cozy table in the corner or something so I can just do my thing. So I feel like this gives off the vibe of what I want at a local bookshop.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
That's good to know. Definitely.
David Friedman is here, newbie to the chat. Welcome in, David. It's wonderful to meet you. Thank you. Let's see, did anybody else? I know Nilufar jumped in. It's good to see you, Nil. Welcome to the chat. And please, everyone, check out the Artist Spotlight tab above the chat as well, because pretty soon we are going to be taking a look at who our artist that will be spotlighted is today, around the last 30 minutes of the stream. But you folks can actually check out that tab. You can nominate yourselves or a friend or another artist that you admire, and we will kind of choose when we do these spotlights from the pool that you folks have suggested and highlight an artist, give them some support and a shout out and a spotlight on the stream, and look through their portfolio. Totally missed that Mockingbird was one of Kim's books. We'll try to think of another one. Yeah, please do. Anyone. And if you maybe missed the point that we're kind of referring to in the stream, basically Kimberly is going to be adding a stack of books to her illustration, and we're going to design some titles on the spines of those books. And she has a list of possible things to add to the spines, but if you folks would like to suggest a few of your favorite titles, or titles you feel kind of go with the vibe of the illustration, then we could possibly add some of your ideas in. So please suggest some cool book titles. We have The Burning by Laura Bates, suggested by Dean O'Callaghan, which is cool. I don't think I've read that one myself, actually. William, welcome in. And speaking of books, what is, I know, like, sometimes you can't really ask someone what their favorite book is, but do you have a current favorite book at the moment
Ooh.
that you love? And it could be about like anything, like a storybook or maybe a design book or anything.
I have just finished Normal People. I can't remember the author actually. If anyone in the chat can remember, that was really good. But I'm always, always, always drawn to the Harry Potter books.
Yes.
I love the Harry Potter books.
Yes.
And also, like we listen to Stephen Fry on audio all of the time, like in car journeys, in like sometimes to go to sleep too, because his voice is so soothing.
It is very, it is.
Yeah, really good. How about you?
I am in the middle of I really love, like, I'm a Harry Potter fan as well, so I really love like fantasy, science fiction, you know, like all the crazy like urban fantasy kind of stuff. And so I'm in the middle of I believe it's a trilogy of books by Brandon Sanderson. And I finished the first one already. It's called Mistborn, and then I am in middle of Well of Ascension right now. So it's kind of like it's like, seems to me like kind of 1800s like England kind of setting, but purely fantasy. And there's you know, regular people, and there's magical people who are like secretly magical, and there's, you know, strange creatures in the mist, and you know, and all that crazy stuff. So I that's kind of like what I like. I like a little bit of spookiness and a little bit of fantasy and stuff like that. So that is what I am working on right now. Dean says The Color Purple by Alice Walker. That is an excellent read. That is one of the books that's on my list of like the top like 5 books that has like impacted me, you know, reading a book. The Color Purple is definitely up there for sure. Let's see. George Carmona III says, A Jedi I Will Be, an upcoming book about Jedi meditations. Do they actually have a book of Jedi meditations? I have to check this out.
That
sounds awesome.
Amazing. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That sounds really cool.
Tomas says, Brandon Sanderson is a genius. I agree. The Kiss by Catherine Harrison from Lindsay Palmer is a good suggestion. Jane says yes to Mistborn. Yeah, it's a pretty good book. Let's see if I can go through. I want to make sure I'm not missing anyone's ideas. Cody says Aragon by Christopher Paolini. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Jane. Yes, there you go. That's a good one. And anybody in chat, if you all, I know you guys are also suggesting books for the illustration, but what are your favorite books? What are you folks reading right now? And it could be, you know, a fantasy book. It could be something that's more about like self-help. If maybe you folks are reading design books. I think a really good self-help book that I've never really forgotten was actually a book. I've mentioned this several times, so I'm sure there's people who are like, I know what she's about to say. But Sam Peterson, one of our wonderful moderators and very talented illustrator here at Adobe Live, suggested to me many years ago that I listen to an audiobook called Eat That Frog. And it's basically like posing this idea that if you had to eat a frog every day, like it was required to, you know, which is pretty gross. Like that's kind of a gross, you know, thing to think about. Would you do it? Would you put it off all day and dread having to do it? Or would you get it over first thing in the morning and then go on with your day and enjoy it? And it's kind of like a metaphor for not procrastinating on your work and kind of training yourself to be more comfortable just taking care of business when it needs to be taken care of, instead of being miserable because you're not managing your time properly. And it was very memorable. It was, you know, it was a very memorable way to put it, and I've never forgotten it, and it's really helped me. So that's a cool book if you guys want an interesting book to read.
Gosh, I think that really tells someone a person how you are and who you are, and what you, whether you choose whether to have it in the morning or whether you have it late at night.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because I wouldn't want to, like, if I woke up in the morning and I knew that that was something I had to do, I might, like, knowing me, I might procrastinate on it if, like, you know, like a few days, and then I'd be like, this is an awful way to live. I
Yeah.
have to take care of this right in the morning, you know, and get it over with, and then just enjoy my day, you know.
100%. Oh yeah, definitely. I think I'd probably have it in the morning, get it over and done with, for sure. I think.
Yes.
Okay.
You'd have to, because it
Yeah.
would just be there all day.
Reminding you, knowing that
Yes.
you've got to do it.
Staring at you. Oh man. That sounds like a great book, Val. Yeah, check it out. Check it out. Let's see. The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, says Jane. That's a good one. We also have Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I own this book. I have yet to read it. I started it. I just haven't gotten through all of it, David, but that is also a fabulous, fabulous book, and a wonderful author. So yes, very awesome suggestion. And Cody is posting a link to Kimberly's Instagram. Yes, please check out Kimberly's Instagram. You guys can see her 30-day projects and stuff there, to kind of like keep up with what she is working on. And also just, you know, you may want to, if you're just jumping in, you know, we're kind of at the sketch phase right now, but you could check it out and kind of see what the end product of Kimberly's work looks like, and kind of figure out what you're in for learning here as well. I love doing that, by the way, whenever we have a guest and I'll like jump into a stream and see a sketch, and then the Instagram or the website is there. I'm like, ooh, I want to see, like, you know, what their work looks like, so I can try to imagine like how we're going to go from point A to point B.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
I love seeing that. I love, it's like seeing behind the scenes, isn't it? You see the people, the artist workflow, and it's great. I love seeing how people work and seeing if I can kind of pick up and learn from them as well. Behind the scenes is so good, definitely.
It's definitely a favorite of mine, but yeah, don't let me cut you off, please. Go for it.
So I've kind of sketched out I did the thumbnails and kind of did a really rough sketch, and then I've neatened it up and tweaked some of the composition slightly. So what I normally do is now go back in again and tidy it up even more and have a look at if I can I might add a little plant in here, or maybe move some of these books around. I might add a little cat sleeping in here.
Ooh,
so
yes.
I'm gonna do a little tweaking. and now I normally do things on different layers now. So I'll do the character on one layer, and then I'll do the books on a separate layer as well, so that you can then move things around a bit more easily, because everything at the moment is all on one layer, so it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, isolating on different layers is actually probably one of the greatest things I ever started doing, next to not only isolating them, but then using like clipping masks to make sure I stay within the borders of each element on those layers. It is a really great way to move them around, and kind of like, you know, because after you kind of render them a little bit and you give them a little bit of detail, you may still want to kind of move things and push and pull things around to get the best composition. And you can't do that if you do everything on one layer, which I guess some people can, but for me personally, and it sounds like for you as well, it's more comfortable being able to drag each element around on its own, basically.
Definitely.
Let's see. Shauna is posting Anna Davis Court, our friend here, and also a alumni for the Adobe Creative Residency, recently illustrated a Jedi kids book for Disney, which is just really cute. So that's also a great one to check out if you haven't already. Am I on the command deck of a flagship? Yes, I do have my flagship behind me. Thank you for noticing, Jan Eric. I appreciate it. I'm sure everyone's very surprised. I'm sure I also feel like, Kimberly, you may have noticed as well that there is like a long running thing with me and Star Wars on the stream, because I don't ever get through one stream without someone talking to me about it, because I've developed a reputation for myself.
I think I've seen one of yours where you had layer buns as well.
Yes. Oh
You
no.
look so awesome.
Oh no. But the thing is like, of all of the broadcasts you could have seen that I have done, you see the one where I have the Leia earmuffs on. Oh no.
You look so good. Sorry to bring that up.
No, that's fine. That's perfect. I hope that when I'm gone, the legacy I leave behind is that girl who was weird that used to dress up as Star Wars characters. That's what I hope.
Well, you pulled it off. You rocked it. So
thanks.
Very impressive.
Dean is saying he is already in love with this illustration. I've got to agree with you, Dean.
Thank you,
I'm feeling
Dean.
the same way.
So
I also feel like more connected with it, and I'm sure chat does too, is that it's not like, obviously it is great fun to be able to like look through your Instagram and check out your portfolio, but also like I get to be here for the creation of this, and we get to talk with you and ask you questions. So I feel like more connected with this piece in general, which is just kind of neat.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I like that. That's really nice. That's good to know.
Anisa, I hope I didn't butcher that name. I'm very sorry if I said it wrong. Please correct me in chat. But she would like to know what brush you're using for the outlines and tracing at the moment.
So at the moment I am using Kyle's drawing box HB Pencil Pro 7.
Nice.
I quite like the thickness of this pencil. It's really nice, actually. Let me put it on a layer that you can actually see.
Oh wow,
it's a really nice texture. But there are so many brushes within Kyle's packs, like so much to choose from. It's really good.
You gotta like set some time aside to like deep dive into the Kyle brush packs.
Definitely. I found some really good ones that I found his manga pack is really good. There's so many different fun textures to play with, which I've used a lot actually recently on some of my 30-day project posts.
Nice.
Like overlaying. I like that screen printed texture. I think if I'm not screen printing an illustration piece, I like to kind of bring it in digitally. So I add lots of kind of splatters or kind of distressed aspect to my illustrations.
Nice. Yeah, it kind of gives you, I think a lot with his brushes. He has so many. He has a brush for every occasion, and I think that that's one of the things that he really does bring to people's workflow is no matter what kind of art you make and no matter what kind of like traditional medium you may have come from to digital, there's always a brush with the kind of texture that's going to be satisfying for you to use. There's always something there, which is super awesome. Yes, Cody has posted it in chat too, by the way. Kyle's drawing box HB Pencil Pro 7. Exactly. And yes, Val, almost there. It's like Anaisa. Okay. As long as I didn't get it too wrong, thank you for the directions, the instructions on pronunciation. Also, Shutterbug, welcome in. Fairy, welcome back, my friend. It's good to see you. It's good to have you in the chat. Let me move through here and make sure we didn't miss any. Cody says, can I suggest Winnie the Pooh? Yes.
Oh, fab.
Like the classic Winnie the Pooh novels. Yes. Oh my goodness. Great suggestion. Also, Juju's Bike, welcome in. It's good to see you. My favorite book from when I was a kid was The Jelly Postman. Have you seen that? I have not. I used to read a lot of very specific books when I was a kid too. And one of them was, I don't know if you remember this or if they had these books, if they have them in the UK, maybe somebody in chat knows about them, but there was a series when I was a little girl called Junie B. Jones. Does anybody know what that is? Oh gosh, it was like The one that I had that I used to read all the time, it was like Junie B. Jones and the Mushy Gushy Valentine, or there'd be like Junie B. Jones and then like the something something else. Like, you know, it was about like this young girl that was in like grade school that just every book was an adventure she went on. And I used to read those all the time. I would go into the bookstore, and I think I only bought the one about Valentine's Day, but I had read all of them because I could sit there like in the children's section and just like read through a whole book in a visit, and I didn't need to get it.
Oh, that's always a good book when that happens.
Just cruise through it.
Yeah. I used to read, I don't know if many people know Millie Molly Mandy books when I was really small. I don't know if anyone recognises those. It was just this really cute little girl, and she had a bob, which kind of resembles my bob, but and she used to go on adventures with her friends. It just always reminds me of my childhood. So cute.
Yeah, that sounds adorable. It's not, honestly, it sounds kind of like a similar thing to like Junie B, but I think that's like a you know, maybe a common formula, you know, for us at that age group, is just like, here's a kid who's just like you, and look at the adventures that they go on, and it's very easy to kind of get lost in those interesting stories. Yeah, I think it's probably your Junie B. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Junie B. Jones detective work, yes. Avriana, yes. Anthony remembers Junie B. How many books does she have? Are you talking about the Junie B books, or are you talking about the books that Kimberly has illustrated on here? Because I think maybe people are probably wondering if we have a title for every book. But maybe we should, I don't know if you want to wait until the end, because you may add more or get rid of some or whatever, because you're still kind of planning it out at the moment, right?
Yeah, I was thinking she'd have a really big pile, and especially because everyone's kind of commented on so many books, I'd love to add them all in. But and it'd be great to have a reminder of the titles. I don't know if the chat kind of, if I can grab them from somewhere just to make sure.
Oh yeah.
If so that I can include them for tomorrow as well.
Yeah, if you guys want to put your ideas in the chat, maybe we can literally get a list together. I don't know if you want to list them, Cody, or if maybe I could just pull up a doc and I can list them as well. But yeah, we can get kind of a list going, and or you know what might actually be kind of a cool way to do things. I've been telling people that they should check out your Instagram, which I know that many of them have done already, but there's a really great beautiful post about Adobe Live on your Instagram. Maybe it would be easy if folks just dropped you a comment on that post.
Yeah, that would be brilliant.
Yeah, so there's an Adobe Live post on Kimberly's Instagram. Just leave her a comment and leave her an interesting book title, and then we'd have them all in one place, and it's Adobe Live themed. And then you guys will all be able to go see that super cool illustration that I was talking about. I'm an amateur illustrator, and I find it hard to draw hands. Was it always easy for Kim and Val to draw? Absolutely not. It was not always easy for me to draw, and I would say I am a professional illustrator by trade right now. I draw and paint for a living, and it is still hard for me to draw and paint. You know, I think it's an ongoing struggle, and something that you slowly improve and get better. But the way artist brains work, I think, is when you gain a mile, you gain a couple steps in the journey, you kind of subconsciously always raise the bar on yourself. You raise your expectations until you're like wanting to do a different thing better now, and then a different thing better now and stuff. And so you kind of always feel like maybe you should get better at something. I think is kind of the general art feeling. But I would say if you're struggling, continue to practice, continue to improve, but don't lament that you can't draw it the way that you want the first time when you do it. Just enjoy the art journey, because that's the main thing here is, work on your trade and hone that skill, but don't worry about feeling uncomfortable at points in your work, and don't worry about not being able to do things the first time exactly how you want to, because it's kind of a thing that sticks with you, I think, and I think you'd be better off, I have learned, if you just really enjoy the process of making what you're making. What about you? How is it like for you, Kimberly, like kind of getting into art, and do you still struggle with things
Oh
these
gosh,
days?
yeah. I think actually hands are probably the hardest thing I find to draw still. I think
Mm-hmm.
they can be
Me
one
too.
mark out and they can completely look like a claw, or like really kind of not, definitely not like a hand anyway.
Yeah,
So
I get like a good ball of yarn look
yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not good.
But I've also like some, I think in the past I've either hidden them just to get away from it, but now I want to get better at drawing hands. So I like to have them as part of my illustration, just so I can get better at them, practice them, and little by little, it has gone better. I think I like, because thumbs, I particularly, now I'm actually beginning to enjoy drawing. I like the curve of a thumb and developing them there. But yeah, hands are so hard, really,
Yeah,
really, really difficult.
I'm the same way. I sometimes I draw a good hand. I have my own 30-day project going right now, and I had to draw a hand that was like the focal point of one of the images, and I was terrified. I think I drew that hand, folks. I think I drew that hand like 12 times. I did like a bunch of sketches, and I kept hiding my sketches, and I attempted to paint like maybe 3 of those sketches because I thought they were pretty good, and I honestly thought I was going to give up and try and figure out a different way to do that particular illustration, until I was like, no, I just need to learn how to do this, because if I don't do it now, if I continue to hide it, then I won't ever get better at it, which means if I have to draw a hand in the future for a job or something, I'm not going to have that practice. So I was like, okay, I'm going to work at this hand, and I did it. But let me tell you, there are some hand sketches on my computer currently that I would not ever want to be unearthed for anyone's viewing pleasure ever. I would love for you guys to just look at the hand finished product, the painting of the hand, and be like, wow, she drew that hand. And I'm like, yeah, I did 25 times. They're not good sometimes, but I enjoy the journey, though. Put the time in, and you know get better at it. I would say, specific tips, like look for reference. Also, no matter how simple, or I don't want to say simple, but I guess I should say, no matter how minimalist your style is, you can always benefit from taking a look at anatomy. And because once you know the rules, you can break the rules, basically. So if you look at, the anatomy of a hand, and you can kind of see how everything is connected in to itself and how the hand works, then you can keep that in mind while you're drawing it. And if you draw a more, I guess, realistic hand with more like the proportions closer to, I guess, like hands in reality. Once you do that a few times, then if you have like your own style or a different way that you do them, once you've kind of had practice with a realistic hand, when you go to do a hand in your own style, you're still kind of thinking about that hand anatomy. And I think you'll find that it translates in a very interesting way. So take a look at some facts, take a look at some anatomy, and draw it a few times. Something that I like to do, Kimberly, if I'm ever a little self-conscious about a particular concept that I don't paint well, is I sit there and I do it 3 times. The first time's usually a disaster. It's usually really bad because I don't have very much confidence at all. The second time I try to illustrate the exact same thing, exactly how I did it the first time. And it's a little bit better. And then the third time I do it again, exactly the same way as I did the first 2. And then I look at the first and third illustrations. And already you usually will see an improvement from the very first attempt to even just the third attempt. And sometimes that's enough to make me feel like I made progress. I'm still not happy with it, but I made progress.
Yeah,
I got used to it.
That's a really good way of approaching it, definitely.
Try it out, folks.
Yeah. Have you got any of the names for the books? I've just started writing them in now on the spines.
See. I'm going to peek over at this post because she actually posted the Instagram for people to kind of list them, so they're all in one spot. Yeah, we got Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne.
Is that WHINNY?
WINNIE, actually.
Yeah, I should know that.
Yeah, we got one from Cody. Let's see, does anybody else have any ideas? You can also put them in chat. That was just, if somebody was going to maybe take off or whatever, that was kind of a more solid place to add them. I know that we had, let's see, let me scroll through here. Mallory, welcome into chat, by the way. Asher Savage, it's good to see you. Welcome in. Let me look through.
Too long.
Oh, is it very long?
I was going to do Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone and then realised that the spine was probably a little bit too short. There's quite a lot of books here, but I might end up editing this down at some point.
Yeah, so maybe just, another call for some great titles, and then we can add them in. It might also be cool. I know you mentioned too that you may add some tomorrow as well. So if people are thinking about it, they can always throw one down on the post just in case you go looking for another title as well.
That'd be really good.
It looks like we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more to go, but like you said, you may add more, you may remove some, we don't know.
Yeah.
So, Little Women, ooh, that's a good one.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yes, Little Women.
I was thinking I might kind of look at the typography for each of the spine as well, and
yes,
I might look at that tomorrow when we come back and just maybe sketch out some of the titles in a different typography, hand lettered style.
Looks like,
and I'll bring up some references
Secret
as well.
Garden too, yes. Shauna, Pride and Prejudice was on her original list, by the way. And then did you add Jane Eyre to your list?
No, I don't
Because
think
that's a
Jane Eyre
good
was
one
on
too.
there.
Let's see. I find art references handy. Oh, Jan Erik with the puns, the pun meister. It's here in the chat. It begins. Here we go. Between Tim and Jan Erik, the puns just flow so freely. You have no idea. We did a stream recently. It was like a graphic design stream where we were helping to come up with ideas for menu items for like a walk-up pasta bar kind of thing, where it's like a walk-up restaurant instead of like dine-in. And I don't think I have ever heard so many pasta puns like in the span of my entire life than I heard in that 1-2 hour segment.
Oh,
I was
that's so good.
they were powerful puns, Kimberly. There was like Gnocchi on Heaven's Door. There was what was there? There were some about, I don't know, they were mixing like pasta puns with Fast and the Furious too, and I just did not understand how they were coming up with them, but Jan Erik was a part of that, and now that he has begun the puns for this stream, I cannot wait.
Oh, amazing. Love a good pun. I've got an illustrator friend, Matt Joyce, and he is the pun king. He makes GIFs as well out of his puns.
Oh no.
So check him out. They're really good.
What was his name again?
Matt Joyce, illustrator.
Matt Joyce, illustrator. I'm gonna look him up.
I think he did a pickle GIF last Christmas, and that was kind of how I love pickles. Pickles at Christmas is like probably one of my favorite things.
Really?
So that's how I got to chatting to him about pickles.
Oh, this is really cool. This is some very interesting work. And I love the animations and things. These are just so cool.
Yeah, he's very talented at his GIFs for sure.
Wow. She said, "Oh no." Yes. Yeah. Well, because you never know. Like, you know, when Jan is here and the puns start, I don't know if they're if because I always love the puns, but sometimes they're painful to read. You know, so I never know really what I'm in for. Like, am I going to enjoy my day, or am I going to enjoy my day with like a little bit of like anguish, like pun anguish?
Oh, pun anguish. That should be hand lettered. Pun anguish.
Oh man, Val's really putting me on the spot here. I'm sorry. Sorry. Maybe a slight payback for some of the puns I've had to read over the years. Yeah. Yes, he says they call me the Punisher. No! Stop it.
Brilliant.
Oh gosh. This is great. Shauna says, I dream of being as punny as Jan and Tim. Yes. I think we all do to some extent. Oh my goodness. Also, another quick reminder to everyone, we are going to do an artist spotlight today. I'm thinking we'll probably be gearing up for that in maybe 15 minutes. So if you folks would like to suggest, nominate yourselves or nominate a friend or an admired artist, please check that spotlight, the artist spotlight tab out above the chat, and fill out that form and check it out. If you're over on the YouTube channel right now, please come over to behance.net/live, because that is where the party is. That is where we have the Punisher, and that is where all of the strong, powerful puns are happening. It's where the pun party is going on. So please come over here and hang out with us, because I'm sure if you're over on YouTube, you're wondering like who I'm talking to, because you won't see any of those folks in that chat over there. Let's see. Yeah, Cody's doing a nice reminder for the spotlight. Yes, indeed. You can nominate yourself. You can nominate someone else for a future artist spotlight. Yes, we have, I probably should say, we have our artist spotlight for today that we have chosen from your suggestions. But if you would like to, yes, nominate yourself for another artist for a future artist spotlight, please fill out the form, because we love getting suggestions from you, and we love being able to honestly like get to know new artists that maybe we would not otherwise have found. So please, if you have someone you admire, let us see them. RK, welcome in. It's good to see you. I love the little emojis. I love them. I love also how this illustration is coming along, Kimberly. It's starting to like be really balanced with this element of the kitty cat and the hanging plant and everything, and I'm living for it right now.
Oh, thank you. I think the cat definitely adds that cozy touch, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely.
I like to bring the cat in my illustrations. I did one recently where the cat was doing yoga with the character. I think the cat was basically just having a little cat stretch, but yeah, it looked pretty cute.
That's adorable. Cat yoga. Apparently they have cat and dog yoga for real though. Like you can bring your cat and your dog.
Oh really?
And just do yoga with them. And there's actually some dogs that are trained, and they do like dog versions of yoga poses, and then they're just in the studio, and then you do yoga, and there's a dog or two that are also doing yoga. Yep.
I've seen goat yoga. Have you seen goat yoga?
I have seen goat yoga, yes.
Yeah.
I have seen goat yoga. I love it.
It's so funny.
Big goat fan here. I love to see the baby goats in little onesie pajamas. I don't know if you've seen that.
No.
And I also learned that when you have very young goats and you're trying to make sure that they don't do their little headbutt and harm anyone, a lot of farmers will take a pool noodle and cut sections of the pool noodle and put it on their horns. So they have like the pool noodles on their horns so they don't hurt themselves or anyone around them. And it's the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm going to have to check that out when I'm done here.
Baby goats and pool noodles. It's the greatest thing ever.
Oh, brilliant. That's going to be my viewing this evening.
I love Kim's own pun, says Joe. You dim some, you lose some. Yes.
Oh yeah, that was a good
on
one.
Instagram. That's a pretty
Thanks,
powerful
Joe.
pun. Lauren says, yeah, this artwork is super cozy. I agree. It makes me want to curl up with a great book.
Oh,
absolutely.
Thank you. Brilliant.
Everyone's laughing at the dim sum pun, which also makes me very hungry. Now I'm starving.
Oh, I love dim sum. It's probably one of my favorite things. And noodles. Well, if you see my feed, it's predominantly noodle based.
Yeah. I have noticed there's a lot of like great art and delicious food I have seen. You know.
My friend Jane, actually, we've started a new club called New Nerds Club. So if anyone wants to join in the Nude Nerds Club, come along and draw noodle-based things. So
I might actually do that. Actually, I might legitimately get in on that.
Oh, yay.
Cody says, what about Sherlock Holmes?
Ooh.
That is one of her favorite books. That is great. I see your Sherlock Holmes and I raise you some Jules Verne too, by the way. Predominantly noodle based. Yes. That's a great quote. Well, what is your portfolio like, Kimberly?
Predominantly noodle based.
Predominantly noodle based. I'm gonna have to check this out for myself. That's great. That's you know what, I feel that though on a spiritual level. Yeah. I really do. Let's see. Kim's color palettes are dreams. They're the dreams. I've never heard somebody's color palette choices described like that before, I don't think, but I love it.
No, that's nice. Yeah, it's a good compliment. I like
color
that.
palette goals.
I will
they really
that.
are though. And you use a lot of colors too that I don't use at all, like the blue that you favor and like some of the green tones. Like I never really use colors like that, and I never naturally like gravitate towards using them together. So like being able to scroll through your portfolio and just see how you use color and how you put some of these colors together, you do a really great job of like choosing colors that have a beautiful contrast between them, but they're also still very soft together, if that makes sense. And I don't really make color decisions like that because I'm not as comfortable with color in this way, and so it's really cool and inspiring to see how you do this. I love it.
Thank you. That's really nice to hear. I think when I do set out on a I do have a particular palette that I use, and I think that's the great thing about using Adobe and Illustrator and Photoshop. You can always bring in your libraries. So I've got my set palette, which is great, but whenever I do start inking an illustration, I always find that bit slightly daunting to go into choosing a color palette. So I do like those restrictions. I like having an amount of color palettes that I have access to, because I think there's so many colors it gets overwhelming. So
yeah, definitely.
I'm definitely drawn to kind of the pinks and blues. Definitely. I feel like I've made let's redo this book a little bit more. Yeah, pinks and blues are definitely my favorite, and that's really funny because actually you wouldn't guess that from going into my home or from what I wear, because I never wear those colors. But it's very different when you're creating art. I think you kind of choose brighter colors for your art. I had quite a big conversation about this before in the past with a friend of mine. And it's quite a different imagination and expression, isn't it, with color?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm like similar to that, but then also different. Like when you walk into my home, I have like all earth tones and everything, like very warm, like cozy vibe in my house until you get to my office. And then it's like you're stepping foot on an actual spaceship.
Oh,
It's
really?
like, yeah, I have my walls painted black and amethyst, and I have like one full wall that is like it's like a shrine to Star Wars. Like I have like just tons of Star Wars stuff, and
Oh,
then
amazing.
yeah, so I have like my art books and things. So like you walk in and it's just like, black on black on black with like hints of like purple and red, and then just
Ooh.
like a bunch of weird space helmets like lining the walls and like little baby spaceships everywhere.
Oh, that sounds amazing. It's very different to my space, because our home's always predominantly grey and white, which is very, very, very kind of we kind of go for the Scandi vibe, I guess. You know, the kind of soft greys, grey sofa, that kind of thing.
I can imagine, like kind of like, yeah, like soft grays, maybe an accent color or two, but like mostly just, kind of like open, airy kind of design.
Yeah. Whereas the garden studio, that's I guess the space where we're able to make a mess and kind of get inky, and it doesn't really matter what anything looks like. So that's quite nice to have two different spaces for working in.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I think, not everyone is able to have different workspaces and places where they do work, but since I've been able to have, because my workspace used to be in my bedroom, just like in my room, and then I moved to having an office and stuff, and not everyone has the ability to do that, but I think that it's kind of a good experiment and maybe a great break for all of you in the chat. If you don't have like a home office or something, maybe experiment and one day take some time and, even if you don't have digital tools that are mobile, grab a pen and paper and just go to another part of your home, or maybe sit in the yard and spend some time creating in a new space, because it's very refreshing.
That's such a nice idea.
Yeah, it's very refreshing and very calming to kind of work in a space different than your usual workspace, which is nice. Chris Moreno is saying, Val, did you used to be a moderator on Silver Screen and Roll? I don't know what Silver Screen and Roll is, so I did not. But I have been a moderator here, and I have been a moderator over on Twitch TV. Those are the only places where I had done any moderating. The Little Book of Houseplants, that's a good book to add. That would be great.
That's a good one. I'll add that in
Also,
now.
I believe we've got a few minutes too until we check out the artist spotlight for the day. So maybe if you want to tie up a couple little things. I just don't want to like transition over while you're in middle of trying to work on something, and then we'll take a look at our portfolio here, and then afterwards we can return, maybe do a little more work and kind of do a recap so everyone can know what we were working on for the stream. Shauna says, I would love to sit on the porch today because stink bugs seem to finally be gone, but it's storming. Oh, Shauna's in Florida. Florida is an interesting place. Florida also, like, you may have to worry about like going out and there's just like a small dinosaur laying on the back porch, just chilling. I don't know. Oh man, it's kind of cool though to see like where everyone is though, and what the different weather is like at any given time in different parts of the world. I know that we have a vast international kind of group with us today too. So what's the weather like where everybody is right now? I want to know. Just kind of throw it in chat and we can we can figure it out. Oh, Illinois, sorry. I forgot. So no small dinosaurs anymore, unless some weird stuff has been happening in Illinois that I don't know about. Like the strange invasion of gators that I wasn't aware of. Let's see, Cody's in Oregon. Lots of different places who are people who are in different places in the chat today. Used to have a resident gator in the complex when I lived in Florida. No thanks. No, thank you. Not interested. Steve is in New Zealand and summer's rolling in for him. That's so weird because we have winter rolling in for us.
Yeah, definitely here as well.
Cold and rainy with sunshine and rainbows in Denmark. Cold and rainy in Philadelphia. Interesting, very interesting. All right, maybe we can take a break for a little while and switch over to our artist spotlight. Take a look at the work of Belinda. Let me really quick pull this up like so. Here we go. And also General Kenobi is saying the desert climate in Tatooine is summery. I love the Star Wars, how this is continuing through. This is good. Keep it going. All right, so this is Belinda Koo. I hope I'm saying that right. Apologies, Belinda, if I'm not pronouncing that properly. But it is wonderful to virtually meet you via your portfolio. Can you see everything all right, Kimberly? So we can kind of start jumping through this. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So I love one of the things that is just like right here at the very beginning of Belinda's portfolio, and that is that she has, first of all, noodles, which we were just talking about.
Big fan already.
Not only is it like I'm already in love, but not only is it just like this beautiful banner, but if you look at her profile picture, she also has that same pattern behind her, and then the noodles are wrapping around her in her profile picture. So it's like this really awesome just whole vibe and theme kind of going on here with the noodles, and I'm loving it.
I love the flow, definitely. It's really nice.
Yeah, and it shows a lot of personality. Like I feel like I haven't even scrolled down yet, and I feel like Belinda is a very fun, cool person to be around already, because this is like kind of a nice energy here. And then we scroll down here, we can get into the work, and this is absolutely gorgeous. This is so cool. Oh wow. Do you see a maybe a cover image that catches your eye immediately? We can kind of jump into whatever like really jumps out at you, Kimberly.
I love the Late Night Cravings, obviously, so it's got noodles in it, and the faux I Love You Forever. I mean, there's a pun right there, which is noodle based. So
let's do the I Love You Forever. This is oh yes. Oh gosh.
Wow.
I Love You Forever lettering, hand lettering, and steaming noodle illustration for the faux lovers. This is cool too, because that has like, you know, we have the title, we have a little bit of information about it, but it's not so much that I feel like I want to skip over it, or it's like too overwhelming getting into the piece, and then just boom, there's the art right there. That is so cool.
Really beautiful. I love her textures. The textures in the background, it looks like the steam is so gorgeous.
Yeah, because I feel like this would have looked wonderful, and you could easily have left the background a little more plain, or maybe just put a texture in the back. But you have this really subtle kind of steam flowing through here that maybe when you first glance at this, you're just seeing the noodles and you're just seeing the lettering. But it's, this is really peeking through in a very subtle way. And then when you notice what it is, it's like, oh my gosh, that little extra bit of love that you put into this piece is very cool.
Stunning. I also really love how she's intertwined the noodles in through the typography. It's through the E. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah. And again, it's like a little thing that it would have looked cool without you putting in the effort to do that. But, she really stopped to think about, like, how can I add, these extra little interesting bits to this. And it makes it just that much more amazing to take in. So very detail oriented. Belinda
very, very detail oriented. It's great.
I love how too, like on the R in Ever, how that light kind of textury noise gradient fades into the dark around the curve on the top. And they kind of do that with a lot of these letters where it's like block lettering, and it's creating like these beautiful kind of 3D words, but it also has kind of a nice fade into the background in some places. That kind of, it's just really cool. Well done, Belinda. Wow.
Nice.
Got some detail images here so we can see some more detail in the piece. The bowl of actual noodles is also amazing.
It's definitely making me hungry looking at
me too, very much. Very, very much. Even the lime on the side, how it has like the lines in each individual like kind of portion of the lime is just so cool. Oh cool, we got like another version of this, like the lines before the color. This is cool.
That's really nice to see.
Oh nice. Little mock-up. Thank you. For more of my latest work, follow me on Instagram. Will do, Belinda. Very cool. I like that. Very well put together. I'm instantly drawn to this I love you mom piece in the center. This like the pink and blue in this. So I would love to just like kind of click into this one and just peek at it. Hand lettering and illustration for Mother's Day. This is so gorgeous.
Oh wow. It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the sparkles and the twinkles.
Oh yeah, it's like they kind of like glow and the colors work so well. Oh my goodness. It also kind of gives me like very subtle kind of Sailor Moon vibes. Like that kind of mystical, like amorphous, magical, soft kind of feel. And these details on the petals are just gorgeous. Oh man. Kind of scroll through here through the close-ups.
I also like the two choices in type that she's chosen as well. I think that's quite nice. Like Mom's really beautiful and big, and then she's used a sans serif for the I love you, which is really nice.
Yeah, I think especially the type for Mom and being able to have this really interesting kind of gradient of colors from that pink to that blue within the lines on the word adds just like a little bit more like interesting detail to it, but it still keeps it clean and elegant, which is nice. Well done, Belinda. And I love the mock-up at the end here. Mock-up. Yeah, it's very simple and just like here's what it looks like as a card. The card envelope is a beautiful color, and it's just gorgeous. Wow. What about another one? Why don't you choose another one for us, Kimberly?
For sure. What about best albums of 2019? That looks really detailed.
It does.
I love all of the depth in this piece.
NPR music illustrations, custom lettering and illustration graphics for NPR's annual Best of Music list. See the Best of 2019 albums listed here and the Best of 2019 songs here. Client, NPR, art direction, Emily Bogle. Awesome. Wow. This is cool. Oh, it's like a time signature kind of.
Oh yeah, nice.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I like that color variation with the green.
Yeah.
So strong.
Oh, I love the sketches too, without the colors. Concept is built on a sound cloud idea that's filled with music and sound wave imagery. The final direction was to stay more abstract with the illustration and include subtle references of sound waves and around the headphones. Very, very cool. That is amazing. And I love too that we get kind of like the subtle colors over like more of the black and white images, and then the larger ones there. That's so cool. I
love her detail. She's very detail oriented with her pieces.
Oh yeah.
And it's across the whole piece as well. It's not just in one area, it's across the whole composition, which is really wonderful to see.
Yeah, this is like you said, like even just the tiny little circles and dots and little dashes around the edges and everything. And it's like, again, I'm met with things where this is a fabulous illustration, and it would still have been fabulous without all these details, but like you spend the time to just like add that last, punch at the end, like that last little bit of oomph that just like gives it even more personality. And I love that you do that. So this is just really cool.
It feels like they're all perfectly placed and thought through as well.
I keep getting the sense, like looking at Belinda's work, that I could reach out and feel the texture. Like, yeah. It feels it like seems very like kind of textile, like kind of, like I really just want to like touch it. Like it might feel like construction paper or something, and I love it. I'm very interested in the don't ever mess with a hangry woman. I'm really down. This is cool. Hangry really woman lettering. Ooh. Let's see. Lettering commission to promote the Dark Carnival workbook created by Dina Rodriguez. Oh, I know Dina Rodriguez of Letter Shop. Lettering phrase inspired by the edgy type style and creating a message that really relates to both my and Dina's niches, food and feminism, respectively. Plus, you really don't ever want to mess with a hangry woman.
So true. Me every single morning.
This, oh gosh, this type is gorgeous.
Yeah,
this is so cool. Really, and I love this mock-up that's like it's on the iPad, and then like these images in the back of like typewriting. I don't even know if like it looks like it could be like an actual photo or a mock-up or I'm not sure, but it's got a lot of personality. This is cool. Oh man.
Wow.
That is cool. Oh, these might actually be her workshop images from Letter Shop.
Okay,
that might be what that is. This is beautiful.
Really lovely.
Ooh, the hangry woman.
Such a beautiful typeface. So lovely. Yes. I love the swirl underneath the G and how it's interconnected with the spaghetti. That's really nice.
I was just seeing that, like, because the lip, like the darker lip, I almost thought it was shadow. Except that if you look at the way that it interacts with the spaghetti, it's actually like a 3D part of each word, which is awesome.
Yeah, really awesome.
Oh gosh, this is so cool. And I love this background too is very interesting with like the flame, kind of vibe going here. It's very wicked.
Wicked. And that's the kind of the nod to the the angry.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Well done. Very, very well done. That's so cool. And maybe we can peek at one more, and then we can come back and do a kind of a recap on your work and maybe do a little more sketching before we take off for the day.
Sure,
so what's one that jumps out to you, Kimberly?
Ooh, so many. Oh, wow. Ooh, I love that recipe for success. Looks really good as well.
Ooh, with the check it out.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, I like it. Recipe for success, playing off the idea of recipes and cookbooks. This is a hand lettering list of ingredients that I believe attributes to success in accomplishing your goals. The final piece is digitally lettered, and to play off the idea of food recipes further, mocked up into a photograph that I styled, captured, and edited. This is
wow.
cool.
So
Oh,
she's
wow.
done everything from the illustration to the whole photography and everything. Amazing.
Yeah. 2 tablespoons confidence, unsalted. That is so good. Confidence, but unsalted confidence. Yes. 2 tablespoons of support from friends, a pinch of inspiration, freshly shredded, a cup of passion and excitement, 3 cups of perseverance, minced, wrap in hard work, generous heaping of caffeine, indeed.
Yep.
A half cup of uncertainty whipped with a half cup of determination.
So true.
Wow. Wow.
Very true.
So this isn't just, a design that looks like a cookbook illustration that has, things kind of referencing cooking. This is like a very well thought out, because that really means something to me right there. That half cup of uncertainty whipped with a half cup of determination. Like, I'm scared, and I'm doing new things, but I'm determined to do it, so I got to go for it. Kind of vibe. It's just so cool.
Really, really good. Definitely relate to that 100%.
Oh, we get to see the process.
Ooh.
We get to see like the initial. I love the initial sketch next to the final piece, so we can really see how close maybe the idea was and what was changed and how things ended up. Oh man. And the mock-up that she did, looks like she took the picture herself and made that herself. That is just so cool.
I mean, that in itself is quite the task as well, because you've got to get all the lighting and everything, and and mock it up in Photoshop's really good. You can see the passion and the hard work as well through this piece. Definitely
a lot of love. I love the kind of I don't know if you call that like an aqua or a turquoise kind of like radial lines around the word recipe.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
That is just
love
gorgeous
that.
to me.
So
there's
satisfying.
A lot of things to find. Yeah. Oh,
I love those pieces that you keep looking and you keep finding things that you don't see the first time.
Yeah, you just there's a lot. I think that's like definitely a thing for Belinda here, is that I can look at your piece and it's like, wow, this is a gorgeous piece, but there's so much love and thought put into it. And then also there's a little bit of discovery kind of happening, where I can continue to uncover little, tidbits as I go that I don't get the first time I glance at it. So that's really cool. So I think that is probably all the time we will spend on that for today, because we do have just a little bit of time left, and I would love to be able to kind of jump back to your work, Kimberly, and take a look at what take a look at what you've done, maybe hear from everyone a few comments and things, if anyone has any more book suggestions and stuff.
Okay.
And then we can say our goodbyes and let everyone know where they can find us tomorrow.
Great, thank you. Awesome. Yeah, that's really good. I feel like the illustration's looking really good right now. I feel the first initial sketch is getting there. I would probably normally tidy this up a lot more and kind of get all the lines neat and clean. I'm one of those illustrators that likes a finished clean line before I go into the next stage. I don't really like a lot of messy lines going on in my illustration. So I would probably take this on for another little while longer, just to tidy up a bit more. But I think for tomorrow, what I'll do is get some more of these book titles written down. I think she's got a very huge pile of books. So
she's determined. She's
determined.
She's set.
This is her winter reading locked down for the next few months, especially if the weather's not very good outside.
Yeah.
So I might edit. I think I'd probably, and also what I think about this pile of books, I think they're all kind of the same proportions and composition. So I think I'd probably maybe pull some out or shorten some so that it didn't look so much of a straight up and down line, I think. I'm
very excited. I can't wait to kind of see how you dive in more tomorrow. We do have maybe I would say about 6 or 7 minutes left here. So if anyone has any last minute questions for Kimberly, please feel free to ask. I see that we do have some other folks jumping into the chat as well, which I would love to welcome. So Imam Hassan, welcome in. Ibrahim, welcome in. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for coming to visit. Claire, it's good to see you. She says, Claire says, my reading pile is actually about that size. Yes. I have like a digital reading pile now though. I do have all my books. I do have like a very large collection of books. However, I found that I've been quite busy lately and I cannot always find time to like sit and read my books. And so one thing that I love to tell people all the time is check out Audible, because I love listening to books and listening to audiobooks and stuff. And I can do my work while I work on that book. So I can just turn on a novel, especially if they're narrated really well. In fact, I've gotten to the point, and this is weird, but you know, people have like their favorite authors. I have favorite narrators now, where I have, you know, people I'm just like, I love the way that you did this book. I want to know what other books you've narrated. Typically they narrate the same kind of genre. So I'll find a narrator I love and then go and check out other books they have read. And I love it. But I think you were saying too, you listen to some stories sometimes too, right, Kimberly?
Yeah, I do. I do listen to the Harry Potter audiobooks. I think Stephen Fry, his voice is perfection for the Harry Potter audiobooks. I think he's really good. And I do listen to a lot of podcasts as well while I work.
I
find that really kind of helps me get into the focus and the kind of block out all of the distractions as well, which is really good. I'm actually listening to Office Ladies. Do you watch American Office? We're running it. No. We've gone back. I've gone back to the beginning of The Office, and the Office Ladies are doing a podcast.
You mean The Office?
The Office. I was
thinking of a show called Office Ladies. Yes, I do. Absolutely. Yes, of course.
Oh, so good. So yeah, we've gone back to the beginning, and The Office Ladies, which is the podcast, basically I don't know if you've heard it. Have you heard of Office Ladies?
I haven't heard of what they're doing. It sounds like the ladies from The Office are doing their own kind of thing, like their own podcast. Oh wow, I did not know that.
And they kind of go behind the scenes and tell you things that you wouldn't have known about, and yeah, very, very funny. Wow. And especially if you're rewatching it, so it kind of makes sense again. So it's really good.
That's so funny. I've seen so many episodes of The Office, but I've seen them all out of order. Because I never followed the show like as it progressed. I just, anytime it was on, I will sit down and watch an episode of The Office. And I also find myself watching just reels of like the best of Dwight.
Oh, Dwight is just he's the funniest, isn't he? He's
my favorite. He's my favorite one.
Same,
I just, definitely. Like him, I think I've used the gif of him like turning around in all the wigs like from The Office like so many times. It's so funny. He's like, yes, if you're wondering, I do have a wig for everyone in The Office. So funny.
Oh, it makes me chuckle. We've one of my favorite episodes was when Michael put his foot in the grill and he couldn't come to work. Oh, so good.
Oh my gosh. There's a lot of really, really great episodes that I'm just it's kind of weird because it's one of those shows. It's a great example, I think, of emotional reaction from the viewer, from from the consumer of art, right? Because as a painter, I always strive to like paint something that makes someone feel something. I think a lot of us do that, like trying to show something to the people who will be kind of taking in our art and making them feel something inside. The Office does it very well. It's just that whenever I watch it, I feel like a strong sense of cringe,
Oh,
like
yeah.
constantly, like that is my major emotional reaction. It's just like a cringiness where I'm just like, Dwight, stop it. No, no more.
Don't do it.
Don't do this. Why?
Oh,
But
yeah,
it's very
every
good.
time. The Pam and Jim love story though.
Oh gosh.
So good, so emotional.
Oh
Every
gosh.
time.
We also had a segment here where a wonderful artist and designer designed brands for and by people from the Office. So she did like Shroot Farms, and it was like all beet products, and then she did like Candles by Jan, and did like all the weird candles, and it was like a candle collection. I think my dog is currently trying to get into my office. I apologize. He's supposed to be wrangled someplace else, but apparently he is no longer contained. But we are actually kind of at the end of our show here, so we do need to take off. Thank you so much for joining me today, Kimberly. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you and hanging out with you.
I've had so much fun. It's been really, really good going through my process and hanging out with everybody. So thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. We'll do it again tomorrow. So please join us tomorrow. We'll be here same time, same place, hanging out with Kimberly. Please check her out on Instagram to see some more of her work, and we will see you folks tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Bye.